One, 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 one. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
On here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. I'm excited because I know I say this probably every time. I'll be like, wait a minute, you always say this, but I really mean it when I say this. This is a person I've been waiting to get on here for a long time, and I'm very excited today because he is one of the best in the game all around in sports. If you know wrestling, this man knows wrestling. He is the host of multiple podcasts. I mean, I can go on and on. The Wrestling Wrealm, Breaking Through the Glass Ceilings, Ringers, Wednesday Worldwide, the TWG Fan Club, the man, the myth, the legend, our guy, Mr. Brian H. Waters. How you doing today, brother?
Oh, man, appreciate it. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Hey, man, we will look. We've had Brian on a couple of shows before, Legacy on Fire, and some others, and it's so glad to just kind of have him in here because, like I said, if you're a big wrestling fan, you're about to get a whole slew of knowledge here and there, and that's the best part about it. But don't get it twisted. Brian knows a little bit more than wrestling. He's a sports fan in general, and just a great human being overall. And once again, we are honored to have you here, Brian.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started because, here we like to start off with, ladies and gentlemen, the check-in. All right, Brian, let's check in on you, man. I want to know how your family, friends, how are things for Brian H. Waters right now?
Man, things are good. Just been working and been blessed to be able to, do what I love to do and been able to do that. And kids had a great school year. So that's exciting. One graduated from 8th grade. The other one's going to 3rd grade. So it's like, wow, man, that's that I was holding them as babies. So time flies, especially, one going into high school. It's like, oh boy, what the heck? But yes, I'm good, man. I'm just ready for everything that's coming next.
Hey, look, man, I feel you on the kids growing up on you fast. I have 3. And I remember back in 2006 when I first was told, yeah, congratulations, or at the time I was scared. So I was like, hey, you're going to be a dad. I'm like, so, and now she's going into her senior year. That's the part that I still haven't, it hasn't grasped, she's, getting her first job here in the next couple of days. It's just like, when did all this happen and where did the time kind of fly by? So, the other one is in 10th grade. And then my son, his birthday is today. And
happy birthday.
And he'll be 8. So it's just like, I don't know where the time went to. I really don't.
Yeah.
And it goes by fast.
It sure does, man.
Man, it goes by real fast. Now let's get into it, man. I wanted to know, and I ask everybody this, but I always like to kind of get that insight. Where did your passion for sports / wrestling? Where did that passion come from when you were 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old Brian Waters? Where did that come from?
I think that it just started. So wrestling was just like ingrained in me from birth. My mother said that she knew I was going to be a boy. And, people who know me heard the story about she knew I was going to be a boy because I was always kicking. And every time wrestling came on, but then just watched it. It was always on television, right? Between my uncle, my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, my father. And then, so even like if you know how WWF Superstars used to come on and come on
Yes.
at 12 and 4. I can vividly remember sometimes going to the cleaners on a Saturday morning and it being on. And I would just stand there and just look at it like, oh, wrestling on. It would be like Bret Hart on there or the British Bulldog or somebody. And so it was just something that like I always gravitated to. I never was really big into like comics at all, like Marvel or anything. So it was always just wrestling. And then sports, when I started playing baseball in second grade, that's when I really developed a love for it. And I started like we would have like a local library card. And the card I got, the book I got was a Ken Griffey Jr.
Ooh,
like biography for like kids. And ever since then, he became my favorite. So I remember there was the Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine that came out, and I got it, and it showed how to do Griffey's swing. So I'm right-handed.
You trying to do the right-handed version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna figure this out. And one summer I got punished and I couldn't play like video games for like a month. So
Oh,
every
no.
day I would go outside and I would take like a piece of paper and just ball it up, right? Take about 3 or 4 sheets of paper and then put rubber bands over it. And then you remember like the little yellow bats?
Yeah, the wiffle ball bats.
Yeah, well, that's what it
yeah.
is. So because we couldn't really play with the ball in the neighborhood, we lived in a cul-de-sac. So
Right.
couldn't play with the ball because you didn't want to hit nobody's car or whatever,
Makes
even
sense.
though it wouldn't have hurt nobody. I would use the paper as a ball and constantly like just throw it up, swing. So I taught myself how to bat on the left side because I wanted to be like Griffey Jr. Then I started like my grandmother gave me some baseball cards in 90. It was the summer of 96. And the reason why I remember because the cards were like a year or two, they was like a couple years old and they were all based on 93. And at the time I had World Series baseball 95. Actually, I got it in the summer of 95, but I had World Series baseball 95 for Game Gear. And which I'm so mad because I cannot find a Game Gear. We had a Game
Yeah,
Gear
well,
at my mother's house. I know it's still around. I'm going to find it.
you're gonna
But
find it.
so I had World Series and I got that game still. Like I never traded in. And that's when I would like learn the players. And that's when, my love for baseball developed. And so I would like throughout the year that summer during the day, I would set up the cards in like a baseball diamond. Then I would like create like lineups and stuff. And then at night or the afternoon, go outside, play, and at night watch the Orioles. And actually, this is the summer '96 because when they on their,
Is that the Brady Anderson year or is that 97?
no, so it's the Brady Anderson
It's the
year.
Brady Anderson year.
The
Okay.
year that everybody in the starting lineup at the end of the year had 20 or more home runs.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and to this day I can almost like memorize that 97, 96, 97 lineup. That 97 was my favorite team until 2014 because Adam Jones has passed Eddie Murray as my favorite Oriole. And just because like I like Eddie Murray was kind of like, be honest, was probably by default. Because like I watched him, I heard about his legacy. He was a black player, like okay, he looked like me, but then it was like Adam Jones watching him, So and even though people may not like it, Machado, I still love Machado. But yeah, so that's where and so baseball was my first love, and honestly, at this time, wrestling is starting to sort of take like a back seat, middle row seat. Like I'm watching it by habit, and I'm still retaining, but like during the summer, it's all baseball. During the winter, I'm like, I started getting into basketball, started getting into football, and then and I would watch ESPN, but like so my sister had the cable and I had the Nintendo. So that's how that worked. So I would buy the video games and then I mean when I got a PlayStation, I got Triple Play 97.
Triple Play. Oh shit.
Yeah,
I
Triple
remember
Play,
Triple
man.
Play.
Actually, no, before that, it was King Griffey Jr.'s Win and Run. Then I got Triple Play.
Yeah, I've had, oh man, I see it's so funny. Back here in this cubby right here, all of my old school like games. So I had World Series Baseball 95 and 96, World Baseball with the white label, World I think it was like MLB baseball. But it's like, you go back and think of the nostalgia of those games. And I don't have it, but if I ever get it, it was the King Griffey had a Super Nintendo game, and it might have been one you're talking about. And my sister, like, she had not the Super
Ken
Nintendo.
Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball.
Yes. She had it was on Nintendo 64. She had the Nintendo 64.
Oh,
I
the
didn't
64.
have.
Okay.
The 64 game. She had that one. I didn't have it. And I used to go and sneak in the room and play hers because she was like, why would you buy a game for a system you don't have? I said, well, you have the system. And so I wanted to play it. But yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. is the reason
why you're a Mariners fan, right?
That's the reason why I'm a Mariners fan. I mean, and that's the crazy part. People was like, "You're a Mariners fan? How's that?" Ken Griffey Jr.
So me and Brother Hugh met in 6th grade. I went to this Catholic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. Brother Hugh came there. Shout out to him, co-host of the Wrestling Wrealm marketing manager. He came in there 6th grade and found out, like, so up until then, it was from kindergarten, 1st grade, and part of 3rd grade. I was the only black person in my class. But then 6th grade, there was always like a wave. Parents didn't want to send their kids to public school, or in Brother Hugh's case, he went to a Catholic school that was just kindergarten to 5th grade.
Right.
So that's when we both found out we both love baseball, and we instantly clicked. And we was both Griffey fans. And I don't think I ever told this story on a podcast, but there was a time where we had to do a project and create a candy bar.
Right.
We named it Griff Mars after Ken Griffey Jr. and Roberto Alomar. And it sucks that everything that would transpire with Roberto Alomar, because that was my favorite second baseman.
Hey man, Roberto was that guy. Let's just be honest with you, and I remember growing up, and it's so funny, we got so many parallels. When you said the 93 car base, my godfather, the first, like, he was a truck driver. So whenever he came back, he would buy me these big boxes of cards, which I have sitting in the closet back here. And the 93 baseball collection, the 93 and 92 baseball collection, he brought me 2 big boxes of both of them. And then eventually he would buy me Upper Deck.
Yeah,
and
so we got the same collection.
Got the same collection, man. I mean, it was so many greatness. I remember searching for Ken Griffey Jr. through there. And you get the packs like Christmas each time. You open them and you're like, all right, Ken Griffey, But I can't begin to tell you how many Roberto Alomars or Sandy Alomars that I have in there.
Do you remember 2 players who are top prospects in that card deck?
Don't give me the lion. I want to say, and I know I feel like this is wrong. I want to say that Juan Gonzalez was one, but I don't think I'm right.
No, Gonzalez was the MVP.
He was MVP that year. He was MVP.
Yeah, 93.
Oh man, don't give me the line on that. I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie. Who was the prospects on that one? Give me that.
Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter.
Really?
They are both in the. They are both in those packets as top prospects.
I'm gonna have to go back and take a look.
Yeah, I think Jeter's in there. I know A-Rod is, because I was like, and then when he would blow up, I was like, wow, because A-Rod's rise to the top was quick.
Yes, it was.
And a lot of people don't realize. So he was my favorite baseball player for a while.
Yeah, Rodriguez.
He
gave me a sour taste.
He would, right. If he would have stayed in Seattle. So in wrestling terms,
right,
he was the biggest baby face to the world. Now, when you watch the documentaries, you learn, oh, it's the reason why Griffey left.
Right.
But to the world, he was like the attractive kid who was hitting home runs, which is the sexiest stat in baseball.
Right.
He was American League batting champion. He would have been the biggest baby face and the face of baseball. But then, he went to Texas, became a heel.
Yeah.
And then when he went to the Yankees, he became
a super heel. Roman Reigns.
That's it. I'm sorry.
He became Roman Reigns. And it's insane though, because it's just going back and looking at it. I was so mad when he left.
He went from John Cena to Roman Reigns.
John Cena to Roman Reigns. And I was so mad. I was so mad. I think, he might have been, when he was in Texas, he might have been like the Roman Reigns before he became Roman Reigns now. Where people just didn't like him. They was like, he was being forced on people. And it was like, I don't really care.
That's perfect. He was
he went from Cena to Succotash to I'm the tribal chief. And in that order. So I was a big, I didn't care for him initially. When he left Seattle, I was very upset. And I think that was kind of our downfall for a couple of years. And then we got Ichiro, and everything was all better after that. So I was good there. Let's go into how you got into the sports journalism world. Because I mean, you've been able to, we've met officially on the sidelines a couple of years ago at a Commanders game, and you were doing stuff, I believe, for Fox, correct?
Yeah, so that was just doing that was utility work. So
Right, you're doing
that's on
utility
a
work, yeah.
totally different side of
Yeah.
things. But yeah, when we was there, I was doing the utility work through like one of the local agencies. So I would do Fox and CBS games. And that was cool. I mean, it's not nothing I would want to do for a long time,
Right.
but it was a nice side gig, and you get to go to the games for free, and so that
Can't
was
beat
fun.
that. But now you're a big time in podcasting. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you got multiple. You named them at the beginning.
Mhm.
And but take us on that journey.
Okay.
The podcast journey, how it got there, how it got to where it is right now. Because let's be honest, brother, you on fire right now.
I'm okay. I
Pretty good.
appreciate it. I
You're doing pretty
appreciate
good.
it. I'm always hungry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I start with the sports journalism briefly and then get into the podcasting part. So
Mhm.
when I was in high school, our so 8th grade, I had this dream. I want to be a basketball player. Realize, okay, I can barely hit a three-pointer, and I wasn't gonna grow no more. And even when I tried to develop a three-point shot, you don't make the team in 9th grade, you get humbled quick. Like, so I knew that I love sports. I wanted to be involved. And my mentor, Sam Davis of the Baltimore Sun, is he was somebody who is a church member, and I watched him. So I watched like in the Ravens year in 2000, he was covering the team traveling every time they went on that road. So
Mhm.
I was like, so what's it like? I was asking him all these questions. So he let me like write articles and send it to him, and he would, give me grades and
Critique it and
feedback.
stuff. Yeah.
And that's when I knew, like, this is what I wanted to do. And fortunately, I was able to kind of go through that path, interning at the Baltimore Sun. But, just to kind of like jump the shark into the podcast side, when uh I was in college, when I was a non-traditional student, but when I was in went back to Morgan State, and I was doing a wrestling talk show before, and I remember I had a TV production class, and my friend Danny was like, so we was doing intros, and I said, normal intro, I'm Brian Waters, whatever, whatever. And they was like, so she goes, and he's got a wrestling show. I'm like, Danny, ain't time to talk about that right now.
You ain't time to talk about that right
Yeah,
now.
and she's like, no, he got a wrestling show. So then I hear there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's
So
good to hear.
like, I turn around. There's a guy standing about 6'7", weighing in about 220 pounds, give or take, wearing a sweatsuit. I'm thinking he a basketball player. And I turn around, it was Dwayne. I said, you a wrestler fan? Yes, I am.
Yes, I
I
am.
said, okay. So I was like, well, here's the card of the show she's talking about. All right, I'm gonna check it out. And he checked it out. It was a show I was doing with my cousin at the time. But he had gotten into a lot of trouble, so it was just not good to do a show with him no more. And
Understood.
I was doing stuff, and then when I talked to Dwayne about it, he was like, we every day we would talk wrestling, and it would be a point we would be talking wrestling. Now, mind you, this is on the path to WrestleMania 27. And
Mhm.
one of the vivid conversations I remember is we was in the middle of the hallway talking about The Rock making his surprise return, and people will walk past, and then they were like, wait, oh, those two guys. And Dwayne has like the cool factor.
Right.
I saw that too. And it's like, oh, you're a closet wrestler fan. Okay.
The closet wrestling fans.
Yeah. So after a while, we kept talking. I was like, yo, we should do a show together. I was telling him everything that was going, wrong. And I said, and he was like, oh man, yeah, that would be dope. We realized we could utilize the show as a way to
Mhm.
apply what we was learning in the classroom. And that's what we did. So we created the Wrestling Realm, and we would do like the first 2 seasons was, every week or two or whatever. We would just, and sometimes we would spend like a Saturday or a Monday or Tuesday and bank episodes.
Mhm.
And then that led to, even having like a radio show on Blog Talk Radio for a little bit. But then afterwards, I graduated. Well, we both graduated, but I went to ESPN. That kind of slowed things down. Came back, we started. But then I was like, we couldn't do the show because now we got all equipment. We just life.
Right.
So I
Right.
created Break It Down with Brian H. And that was around 2018. Created that podcast, and that allowed me to just like really stay into it every week and network with people. And it was always funny. Like before we created the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, I would make jokes, or not jokes, but do you remember when Dustin Rhodes was Dustin Rhodes in WWE and kept talking about he's coming back, and everybody thought he was talking about Jesus, but he's really talking about Goldust?
Yeah, I do remember that. I do.
And we laugh about it now, and I would always say, "Yeah, y'all talk to the real Dwayne Allen, and we'll be back soon." And this, that, and the other, and that delayed stay forever. But finally, in 2020, we was able to create the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, or the end of 2020, into 2021, and that opened up so many doors. And one of my friends, he was working with the Ringer at the time, and they just went for Spotify when they purchased the Ringer. He was working there, and he asked, he said, "Man, we got this thing that we're working on in the wrestling side, and I think you would be perfect for. Are you interested?" Yes.
Yeah, why not? I mean, of course.
And at the time, man, I was working at Johns Hopkins Medicine in media relations, and just to be quietly, brutally honest, the department had flipped. We had a solid team, and my manager at the time, she was phenomenal. And then she was the director and the assistant director. I always called them the tag team champions, like to see two women dominate that space. But then the director got an elevation outside of the company,
Mhm.
and then the assistant director, she was getting frustrated because we was frustrated that they didn't promote her. They promoted somebody else. They merged the team. And the other lady, she was good, but as far as what we wanted, our creativity was being stumped.
That's
And
tough.
we was always had like ways we could do a lot of stuff, but now it's like, all right, no, can't do this, can't do that. So it's like, all right, you know what? I was getting frustrated. I was actually really close to going to the place that the other manager had went, but then she went to change of direction. So now I'm like, man. So I got that message at the right time,
Right.
and after a process of interviews, I was blessed to be with the Ringer, and let's keep it real here.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Keep it real, brother. Keep it real.
Let's keep it real here. So I was, they assigned me to Mac Mania. They assigned me to the Mac Mania podcast because I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna clear up some things that may be thought differently.
Okay.
So yeah, assigned me to Mac Mania, and I was doing that with those guys, and it was great. It was absolutely great. We went in, we hit the year mark, everything was good. Last year, WrestleMania, like SummerSlam, and then they told me that they was the show wasn't being renewed. Didn't know why, never knew why, still don't know why. They just said, hey, we just not renewing the show. Then they said, we're going to a 5 days a week feed, and that's when they gave me, Cal, and Ben the show Wednesday Worldwide. So now I'm like, wow. So it's very emotional.
Right.
But it's like you don't want to. You never preyed on one downfall at all.
Right.
You never wanted to see, what happened, and then it's like then you get this opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there was, I would say a couple of them was very happy. One, I don't know, the feeling, but it was never like I didn't make the decision. You know what I mean? And it's been a blessing, with Wednesday Worldwide. Me, Cal, and Ben, they said, all right, y'all just gonna be kind of like the news show to like regurgitate, promote all the stuff that's going on the Ringer network. And it's been, a lot of fun, a lot of great feedback. It's always fun when people like send stuff and like, wait, I didn't know you listened to the show, or fans you never heard of before. Because like with the Wrestling Wrealm, like I kind of like create the platform from scratch and went out there and say, hey, I have this show,
Right.
Then you network with people. Wednesday Worldwide, a lot of times there's already the built-in audience from the Ringer, people who consume all the Ringer stuff, people consume Mass Man, people consume Cheap Heat. So then you get like almost like, wait, you watched the show. And it was very cool when we went to Los Angeles for WrestleMania. We had a meet and greet, and people was coming. I'm sitting there eating wings, me and Cal, and just sitting there, and people say, hey, I listen to the show every week. You really love Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and stuff like that.
Hey,
So,
man, low key, that was the best themes. And low key, one of the best.
Thank you. That's
Dun, 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 dun. Hey, come on now, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go.
And so there's that, and then with TWG fan club, a year ago. So I'd always been very cool with those wrestling girls. Shout out to Queen PR and Krista B. We'd always clicked, when I just told them, like, one day I was just at work, and I would always, when I was at Hopkins, I was look like, you scroll through Twitter and stuff, you're looking for
Right.
like, okay, what's some cool content out there? And I was like, wow, two black women that love wrestling. All right.
Yeah,
Wow,
man.
that's dope. And they, so we I ended up like reaching out. First had Krista on the show, then a year later had Queen PR, and then I would always listen to this show, and I knew one loved the Royal Rumble, one loved Survivor Series, one loved Stone Cold, one loved The Rock. The Rock. So found different ways, and met them in person that week for Brooklyn for Survivor Series,
Mhm.
and to celebrate their 3rd anniversary. And then afterwards, Queen PR was like, she was doing like she wanted to have a show called Fan Club. So one idea was like reoccurring guests, but then one day it was me, her, Justin, Ciendall. We was all on the show, and she was like, "This works. Let's just roll with this."
Hey,
And
when the vibe is right, when the vibe is
yeah,
right.
and I said to her, I said, "All right, well, she said, will you mind producing?" I said, "Well, let's talk. This is how I work, and I love your work ethic. So as long as we make this work, we good." And so that's how TWG fan club, and it's very cool because I always say Wednesdays is for wrestling, but unless it's like something crazy, I really talk about 3 different things for the most part. So that's always the best. Wednesday Worldwide is a headline based show, so we're gonna react to certain headlines, and then if one of the hosts say something crazy like a hot take, or if people call in, which has also been cool, people been calling in and leaving hot takes. Like I had to make sure I turned it off on my phone because it was like, and I was like, it's hooked up to Google, and I was like, wait, no, this not. I don't want this. So I was like, you know what? Um, so, but it's very cool. You know what I mean? I love it. Like I said, I'm always, look at it like I'm blessed to do what I love, and with a lot of people that I love, and yeah, that's how the wrestling podcast journey.
It's an amazing journey, man. And that's, I think, for people that have come on here, I think the biggest thing I like for people to take away is the journey, the grind, and when you see something, when you know that where you started from, and when people think, oh man, they give up, they don't want to do it anymore. I started this 7 years ago. It doesn't even seem like it because I've had so much fun doing it. It have never crossed my mind that, oh, this is the worst thing. Like, never. I've enjoyed almost every single moment of it. And when you create something and it gets to where it is, that's why, like, you're an inspiration because you see where you started from and then where you are now. You may not be exactly all the way where you want to be completely, but you're in a really good spot to make that happen. And that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. All right, let's get into the current state of wrestling.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. It right now seems like it's in a really good place. In my personal opinion. I mean, AEW is in there doing this thing. WWE to me is finally getting back to a point where it's truly enjoyable. There was a time frame for me personally. I was like, man, I don't. It was hurting my feelings on certain levels.
Okay.
But now I'm like, I really enjoy the product. For a while, Raw was like a little touchy. It was like, but I feel like the last 6-7 months, maybe to a year, it's been pretty decent for the most part. They've been cooking. You got to see what a Raw recently. So with that being said, what are your thoughts on the current state of wrestling right now?
Oh man, wrestling is in a great place. When everybody can eat, that's what's fun. You have WWE. WWE is are we going to do what they do? I'm a WWE mark. It's what I grew up on.
Right.
It's that's brought me countless family memories. AEW, it felt like they hit their stride and got their juice back. To borrow a line from Cass, this past pay-per-view. So I'm interested in see like how things go with this Collision show. I still think they have too many shows, but that's how I feel. And then Ring of Honor to see what they do, especially with Athena as the women's world champion.
Right.
It's what she's doing. I think she's carrying that brand. Her and Kiara Hogan put on a banger. You got Trinity over at Impact. It's still hard not to say Naomi, but seeing her bringing eyeballs over there, and then New Japan. You got Willow Nightingale as the New Japan Women's Strong Champion, and when Mercedes Renato gets back, where she fall in line, that's going to be fun. So I think wrestling overall is so much fun. It's always fun when everybody can enjoy it, and then you go to the independents, shout out to Jay Bougie, watching what he's doing, watching his rise.
The turncoat. Hey, man, that takes still funny to this day, man. Every time I see it, I crack up. The announcer, he hit it right on the point. Oh, man.
It was so funny because nobody saw it coming.
Nobody.
And it's funny because like the whole fan club was there and the crew, and there was always the back and forth, the everything, and to pull back the curtain, me and Bougie have been working together off kayfabe. Just I'm like, yo, you have something, and we had countless conversations. So as we putting together the story, he said, so originally the original plan was that I was supposed to cost him the match,
right?
Because he wasn't supposed to go over. But then they switched it, which I'm glad they did. I felt like he should have went over,
right?
And they was like, he said, yeah, bro, it's time. I said, we about to do this? He's like, yeah.
We about to do
all right. Because originally it was supposed to go all the way to a year, and then I would turn on Ron.
Right.
But it works better this way because I don't have to be involved. Like, I don't need to be involved no more. Like, I did what I did. I'm out of it. Like that's not the path I want to stay on. You know what I mean?
I did my part.
Yeah, like that's his career. So he made the call. He said he wrote the spot. And I said, all right, I follow. And it was one of those things where it's like, it was fun because, and I could just imagine how wrestlers feel when they know they about to do a big heel turn. Like, imagine how Roman Reigns felt that night before Payback. Unfortunately, it was in the Thunderdome, but SummerSlam, it's like, you never saw it coming. You know what I mean? So, like, with me, it was sitting there, it's like, all right, I'm walking out to the ring, and everybody knows, like, they kind of confused because it wasn't relayed right. And, it's like, all right, what's going to be his role? And then, like, especially when I put out his manager, told him to get out, then I get in the ring and I hear all the oohs, like, and then he's yelling, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm hearing, and I know exactly where his family's sitting. His grandmother's at the show for the first time. And then they yelled at like, because right before Queen PR had introduced me to them, she's like, this is one of the coaches for the fan club, yada yada yada. And then they was like, look at what is your friend doing? This thing never. And then I was like, and I'm standing there, I was like, all right, here we go. So the guy, he's like, are you ready? And I was like, 1, 2, 3, boom. And then when I held the low blow, I just heard all the gas, and it was
amazing. It's like my heel turn is amazing.
They're getting out of the ring and taking the shirt off and having his shirt on underneath, and everybody was just like, just to see the reactions on people's face. And I told him, I said, can we just do one spot? He's like, what's up? I said, remember when The Rock and Vince and Shane, when The Rock first became champion, can we do that hug? Like that hesitant, and it's like, he's like, let's do it. It's like he's in full kayfabe mode, and I'm just trying to stand in because Brother Houston, when I ref the match, I was smiling the whole time. So I'm like trying the whole time, like keep my composure.
I'm trying to keep everything in.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man.
Man,
but like I said, just seeing like where wrestling is and watching him, like him and Rev Ron Hunt last year, the Bodega Street fight. Yeah, the main event was Shane Taylor and PJ Savage, and they put on a good match, which led to a 4-on-4 STP versus Takeover. But Ron and Bougie really tore the house down. It was match of the night. It was mentioned in PWI last year. Jay Bougie was PWI 487. This year he's number 50 on the BRP 50. Shout out to them too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the family over there. Shout out to Matt Fam, Cal, Mimi, from the Black Wrestling Podcast, putting together that extensive list. And a lot of people, it's always funny, oh, this should be this, they should be that. I'm like, y'all don't understand how much work, especially Brother Math, puts into that list.
Right.
That's a lot of work. They're keeping track now. of all wins and losses and who's over and who's not. So wrestling's in a great place.
That's a good deal. Yeah, my cousin he wrestles down in Florida under the name of Merrick Donovan. And so he made the PWI list, I believe. He was like 481 or something like that 2 years ago. Then he got hurt last year. And so I'm excited to see what he can do. I really am. I mean, it's good to see, you know, somebody's growth from that point on. And we had him on the show last year. I know he's very excited to get back into that. It's just it's a great thing, man. I love wrestling where it is right now. I hope that it continues to flow. I will say this real quick before we move on to the next spot, is that I hope, well, you said something about AEW and the multiple shows. They I felt like they never perfected the one show before they started adding the other two, but that's just me. All right, next one. And before we move on to quick ones, what are your current thoughts on the Baltimore Orioles and the Baltimore Ravens? Because right now, you know, Baltimore starts looking pretty decent. Ravens got a lot of juice flowing right now with Odell Beckham coming into town. You got Zay Flowers. Lamar has been locked up for the next couple of years. It just seems like Baltimore sports is on the rise. What are your thoughts on that real quick?
Man, this feels like 2012. It felt like 2012 all over again. You know, I look at this team and because I had, when we blew up the team with Machado in them, I was so mad because first of all, I still will say this to this day. The Orioles should have had a contract waiting for Manny Machado in 2013 or 2014 when he went down with that knee injury. They should have said, it's okay. Here you go, sign with us. But, you know, so we came away empty-handed. And so I was like, I kind of like distanced myself. Like, I will watch, but I'm like, I turned off my alerts. I'm not going to get alerted every lose.
I don't want to keep hearing about losses.
Yeah, we had like 2 straight 100 lost years. But I will say it was quick. The turnaround, considering what, 2000, we talking 99 to 2010. So it was 2011. So it was quicker.
Right.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to watch. I definitely believe in them as far as how far they can go. I like this team a lot. I'm not sure if you go out and go get a big veteran, but I think you can now attract in free agency. You know, Baltimore's a good place. You know, look what Aaron Hicks is doing. You know, so I think you know, it's a great opportunity as far as the Ravens. Look, I'm expecting to be playing in February.
Hey, look, I mean, this team, that Ravens team looks like it's going to be pretty legit. I got a chance to be at camp a couple of weeks ago, and you can tell there's just good energy. There's a good energy going on there. So
I love John Harbaugh. I know a lot of people give him a lot of slack, but I love John Harbaugh. Always did. I know, does he make the best decisions all the time? No, but it's a reason why was he third longest reigning head coach?
I believe so, because I think it's Tomlin and Belichick ahead of him.
Yeah, so it's a reason. You know, he's won the Super Bowl just like those guys. You know, there was always talk, right? Remember when the Orioles, they was always like, well, they can't win with the Red Sox and the Yankees in their division. You know, and you would have
right now.
right. You look at the list of quarterbacks in their prime that, let's call it, Brian Billick and John Harbaugh had to coach against.
Right.
Phillip Rivers, no Super Bowl. You know, but then you look at the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger,
right,
Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady. For John Harbaugh to get one
in there is impressive.
In there, not to mention going through them,
right,
going through Roethlisberger during the season, going through a young, hungry Andrew Luck, then Peyton Manning, then Tom Brady, and let's not act like Colin Kaepernick wasn't that dude.
No, because Colin, look, as a Packers fan, look.
Oh, you know,
if I could close my eyes every time I saw Colin Kaepernick take off and run, I mean, my man had like 200 yards rushing. They won one of the playoff games. He had 180. The other one he had close to like, it was like 140, 150. If I could never see Colin Kaepernick, you know, play against the Green Bay Packers again, I'll be a happy man. So, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. That is it for that part. Well, it's time for my favorite segment. I love
Mhm.
quick ones. It is time for quick ones. All right, Brian H. Waters
Yes, sir.
for the Brian H. Waters edition of quick ones here on 101. I'm gonna take that as a yes. Let's go to
Yes, sir.
pause for a minute and let's go ahead and get into it. All right,
Mhm.
Brian. Quick ones. First one. What's your favorite sports moment?
I'm gonna say the one that jumps out to me right now, the Delmont double.
Okay. I got you.
Delmont Young home double, bases loaded, Orioles trailing the Tigers in game 2 of the American League Divisional Series. One of the reasons why that hits is because I remember watching that game. Like I was working at ESPN at the time,
Mhm.
and got off of work, was in the house waiting for my son to get out of school. He was in kindergarten, and I remember running out to the bus stop. Said, "Come on, we gotta get back in. The Orioles are on," and afterwards, and you had to go way in the Instagram archives, but there's me and him yelling, "We won't stop." That was the phrase that year, and we just yelling, "We won't stop. We won't stop." So yeah, that's my favorite sports moment.
That's awesome. Next one. I hate to go on the negative, but your worst sports moment.
I'm sticking with the Orioles.
A lot of heartache, huh?
Aldo Jimenez giving
Oh,
up the 3-run home run
oh,
to Juan Encarnacion. See, most people would expect me to say Billy Cundiff.
yeah.
I have mixed emotions with the Billy Cundiff one, right? Because if the Ravens win the Super Bowl that year, I had said this loud and clear, I would not have been a Ravens fan no more. And the reason is because the first Super Bowl they won, my grandmother died later that year.
Mhm.
That Super Bowl, if they would have won, it would have been so that was the first game 3 days after my uncle had died. And I was like, whoa. If we're gonna be only way we can win Super Bowls around my family's death. That's it. I'm
Yeah,
not
we're not
rooting for
doing
this.
that.
So the Cundiff weren't hurt at the time, but it was like, okay. And people say if he hits it, we don't get Justin Tucker. I saw that floating around yesterday. Nah, the Ravens still getting Justin Tucker. Cundiff wasn't like that. He wasn't no, he wasn't. It wasn't like Kyle Bowler was lighting up everything. So we not gonna get Joe Flacco. No, they was
Right.
getting Justin Tucker. But yeah, that one in Encarnacion, I just remember like I understood why Zach Britton wasn't in the game until the bases was 2 men on. Okay, now it's time to put Britton in. And when that ball left his bat and when his hands went up, I cried real
Oh man.
tears.
Oh man, that's tough.
35, it was a 32, 33 years old crying real. No, I was 30 years old crying real
Real
tears.
tears. I've been there. 2015 NFC Championship game. I haven't gotten over it yet, and I don't think I ever will. That should have been the year Aaron Rodgers went back to the Super Bowl, but I digress. Maybe he'll do it in New York.
Are you a fan of his still?
I'm always going to be an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Okay.
A lot of people always be like, "Oh, you must hate." No, I don't hate him. I mean, look, I've been a Packers fan since 1991, 92. Became a Packers fan on the tail end of the Magic. I was 7 years old. I thought my brother played for the team. That's another story. But my hometown team colors are green and gold. I thought they were playing. He was like, dude, that's not us. It's the Green Bay Packers. Voila. I'm a Packers fan.
That's how you became a Packers.
That's how I became a Packers fan, because they had the same colors as my hometown team. I thought they were it. And my brother was playing high school football at the time.
Oh,
he was like, bro, that's not me. Like, he said, that's the Green Bay Packers. So I started following him, and that's how I became a Packers fan. So it was right around the time, and Sterling Sharp was my favorite player growing up. And it's because, like I said, small things, but his number was 84. I was born in 1984. I always wanted to be a receiver, and he became my guy. And so that's how I became a Packers fan. But so for me, 2015, was that year, was sad times, but I can't complain. 30 years of, I can count on both hands how many times the Packers have had losing seasons in 30 years. And it's probably like 6, 7, if I'm not mistaken. 6 to 7, no more than 10. in that 30-year span. So you're going to give me, I don't know, maybe it's like 80-75% of winning seasons during that time frame. I'll take it. I'll take it all day. I wish nothing but the best for Aaron in New York. But I'm excited about the Jordan. A lot of people may think I'm excited about the Jordan Lover. I want to see. I want to see what he can do. Like, I mean, you give up a first round pick for him. He's got to go out there and perform. I mean, the guys seem to be rallying around him. So we'll see. Now this one I think we may have already went over, but I'll go over it again here. Quick one's your favorite athlete growing up.
Growing up, it was Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
And man, and at the end of 2019, it like hit me. That I was like, now that I think about everything, Kobe has passed Griffey. And the reason I thought about it was because it was like just more memories.
Right.
And being more in tune to everything, seeing his whole career, seeing like, just him, his post career. And, I actually had like aspirations and somehow, some way I was like, I want to work with Kobe Bryant, like on his like production stuff. And I actually had a former colleague from ESPN who did work with him. I learned later cool. Like that he worked with Kobe. Said it was an experience. It was intense, but it was rewarding. It's Kobe.
That's Kobe. I mean, you don't expect anything but intensity from Kobe Bryant. God rest the Black Mamba soul, man. I'm telling you, I'll never forget that day. Never forget that day.
Like Edge came back and I didn't care. That's right. How like I was.
That is the same year, isn't it?
That was that Royal Rumble. I remember Michael. So I was working at Johns Hopkins and we was in New Orleans. Me and the former assistant director I mentioned earlier. Shout out to Marin. And the news came through my phone and I'm like, no, wait. She was like, what's wrong? I showed her and we was like, man, so we sitting there just like scrambling, hoping it's not true. We went to some conference. They was doing some, like, it was a thoracic surgeon. And I don't remember nothing about it. I just remember being on my phone the whole time. And then, went back to my room, cried like a baby. I remember we had shrimp and grits. Went to a restaurant, had shrimp and grits, and it was good, but it was just, I was numb, man.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's a tough deal. Now I'll ask you this: now wrestling wise, Bret Hart is your guy, right? Is that your number one? Is that your number one? Bret Hart's your number one?
So growing up is Hogan Bret.
Okay,
it was always Hogan Bret growing up. Daniel Bryan in 2013 captivated me, and I was like, I feel like I relate to this guy. Like, this is my guy. So, but yeah, growing up it was Bret then Hogan Hogan and Bret, because it was like Hogan was like the superhero,
right?
How people like Spider-Man and all that. But then as he was leaving, I was giving Bret Hart a transfer, so I followed the path that, essentially Vince McMahon wanted us to take.
Wanted everybody to take.
Yeah, so it was definitely, Hogan and Bret.
All right. Last two ones on quick ones. Best seafood you've ever had. And being in Baltimore, seafood's a big deal. Are you a seafood guy or am I,
yeah, for the most part, these crab cakes from a spot called Coco's. If we excluding my mother's kitchen, because my mother's kitchen got the best crab cakes, but they're not available for public consumption. But Coco's. Woof. That's good.
Yeah, see, thank you. I'm gonna have to check that out next time I go to B-Ball.
Please let me know. Let me know. I will definitely let you know where to go. It's good. It's not like, it's not downtown. It's like, and I lived around the corner from it at one point. So that pandemic, man, I had a couple times I went to Coco's.
It's a comfort food for sure, especially during those times. All right, last one on quick ones. It's WrestleMania. What's that 45? And you're having a fatal 4-way match for the Winged Eagle WWE Championship. Dead or alive, who is in this match with you, Mr. Waters?
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
It's got to go like this for me. For the Winged Eagle, all right. See, well, I thought I had it, but then I'm like,
and it could be from any era. It could be now. It could be any. You can just mix it in. Anybody.
So you got to have Hogan and Bret in there. That's the lock.
That's the locks.
I'm gonna put Stone Cold Steve Austin.
As
he was the last person to hold it, and Roman Reigns.
Man, what a match that would be.
Yeah, I was thinking Cena, but no.
No.
So do you play 2K?
I haven't got the new 2K yet. I haven't got the new 2K.
Do you plan to get it anytime soon? I don't want to
I
ruin
do.
the story.
No. You
Okay.
good. You good. You can tell me
Okay.
because I'm definitely gonna get it.
So at the end of the John Cena story, he has like that ultimate match, and it's Bruno, Hogan, Austin, him.
Oh shoot.
So you said it. I was like, it's like for like the ultimate, like, you know, it's like the ultimate legacy. And I was like, wow, like, and you can make an argument for that being a Mount Rushmore.
You could.
You
can make a strong one for it. Who gets over in the match?
Oh, man. In that match,
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I'm putting the Tribal Chief over.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, the rain got to be strong, man.
I'm putting the Tribal Chief over. Here's why. Out of all the people on there, he gonna reach the widest range of audience. He could reach the kids from being hated, but he can also reach them from being loved. He's the guy that men want to be like, and possibly, you know, could seem like they could be. But then he's also the one that the women gonna just fall in love with.
They love him. They love him. I remind my wife don't even watch wrestling. And like she used to when she was a big Stephanie, like she was in that era, in the Attitude era. But I was watching Money in the Bank the other day, and you know, after the super kick, you know, one of the super kicks heard around the world there after the pin, she was like, "Who is that fine man laying on the ground?" I was like, "It's Roman Reigns."
You know, it's like, look, my thing is,
take your losses.
You take your L's, but look, when Trish Stratus come on that screen, don't say nothing.
Facts. Come on now, preach.
Did you thank Trish today?
Huh?
Did you thank Trish Stratus today?
Did I? No, I did not thank Trish Stratus today. Should I thank her?
You got to thank Trish every day. Thank you, Trish. You know.
Thank you, Trish, for being you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, so you know,
she's still amazing. She's still amazing.
Exactly. But yeah, that's who I'm putting over. You know, I think that, you know, you can make an argument when it's all said and done that he can be the greatest of all time. You know, it's this everything that they doing, man, was the Honor Wyatt family, and it's one thing is that shouldn't be discredited is how the family has fallen in line. Yeah, they got the story, but just saying, okay, this is the guy, and we're gonna surround and support.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen in all families and you know, backgrounds. But when you got somebody and we got people, everybody falling in line, like even on the indies, people say Jacob Funk, say, no, that is our tribal chief. It's Roman Reigns.
It's amazing. Yeah. I thought, and you know, it's funny that you say that because they all do that. Like there's a support all the way around. Like nobody says, oh, whatever. No, they fall in, like truly fall in line. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah,
I think that's phenomenal. Nobody's out there like, oh, I'm the tribe. No. They all fall in line. You know, that storyline gets better and better.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and finish this up with Leave Your Legacy. We're about to finish this bad boy up. And Brian, first of all, we want to thank you for coming on, being a part of episode 98. We're getting closer and closer to 100, y'all. And we really appreciate you, Brian, for coming on. One of the most knowledgeable men in the game, just knows his stuff. And if you need to know anything, and our homegirl, Britt Waters, well, your cousin, she always says to me, she was like, you know, she's like, you know, he's like an encyclopedia. You ask him this question, he knows it all. So, and that's what she said to me when she came on one-on-one. She was like, I'm telling you, he's like an encyclopedia. He knows it all. So it's a great deal to have you on, man. And this is the question, you know, the legacy question. What type of legacy do you want to leave behind when it's time to, you know, retire, you know, hang up the boots, you know, put the mic to the side, you know, what type of legacy do you want to leave, brother?
Man, I just want to be, you know, inspiration to people who love something, and whether it's in media or not, people who love something and was able to turn it into a profit, turn it into their day job, you know, even if it's something you got made fun of. Like I'm always very vocal in that I got made fun of for loving wrestling, but now those same people be all in my comment section on Facebook. Oh man, that's so cool. You doing it. I don't forget.
I know. I mean, I knew I was doing it, you know.
So I just want to leave a legacy that people can understand that they can build from the ground up and hard work pays off. They keep working hard. They put in the time. What people don't see is the sleepless nights sometimes. Writing rundowns, cutting clips, editing. Stuff. How many graphics or shows that's never made the air. That's the part that people don't see. How many you think about how many graphics you done made that's like, or even like you make a special guest graphic, but something happened and the show you never do it.
Right.
So, just like I said, hard work pays off.
It does. And there's been a many a times where I had to do some rearranging and you made a mistake and then you had to go back, you had to go fix it. It's a lot of work that sometimes people just don't understand. Brian, let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Oh yeah, you can find me at Brian H. Waters on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and if it's still around next week, Spill. You know how these apps be, man.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, I was like, what is Spill? I never even heard of it until I think I saw you and I saw Kelsey Nicole Nelson. There was a couple other people. I said, what's Spill? And I didn't go take a peek at it yet, but I saw that.
But yeah, so yeah, you can find me there. You can find me each and every Monday producing the Masked Man Show with David Shoemaker and Kaz. You can find me on Wednesday Worldwide every Wednesday. Drop usually around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then Wednesday evening at 7 on TWG Fan Club with Queen PR, Justin, Rich, and Ciendo. And then on the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time with myself, the real Dwayne Allen, Brother Hugh, and Brother Brandon. Oh, Brother Brandon also is has the championship culture.
That's the belt guy, right?
The belt guy.
Let me tell you something, man. The belts he made for you. Oh my God, it's at the bottom here for those who need to know. There it is. That's a piece of it. You gotta go check the artwork that this man has done with the belts. The red strap ones were really nice. I'm like, man.
The red.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was jealous. I said, that's nice, man.
Man, we have to talk to him. Talk to him.
Legacy one. Like,
there you go. Talk to him.
I had to talk to him.
It was just as it was a great surprise. I remember he called us over to the house,
right?
And we was like, okay, but he didn't tell us all. He just said, "You come over at 4." I said, "Yeah, all right, cool. I'm over there." The next thing I know, it was like a movie. Brother Hugh come over. I'm like, okay, just waiting for Dwayne. So I'm like,
waiting for Dwayne? Why are we all here?
What are we doing? Are we having an intervention? Did one of us get in trouble or something?
Hey, right? Who got drunk, man? This is crazy.
Yeah. So then he unveiled. He said so. He pulled over, and it was the open weight championships from like New Japan. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. He's like, wait, no, those aren't it. All right, here you go. He undo it, and boom. And I was like, oh. I wish there was cameras rolling sometimes, but then sometimes you just gotta keep that moment. But yeah, it was amazing, man. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to him. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, make sure you go and check out Brian H. Waters. Now, next week, ladies and gentlemen, my man, episode 99, one of my colleagues for the Commanders, Mr. David Harrison, sports journalist, host of Locked In Commanders, also podcast host for Locked In Bucks, writer for Commanders Country, also for Bucks Game Day for SI Sports Nation. He will be joining me for episode 99. Very excited to have him on next week, but very excited that we got a chance to sit down with Mr. Brian H. Waters. Brian, once again, brother, thank you for coming on episode 98 of 101.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. You'll be able to check this out, of course, on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page. You'll get to check it out on Twitter, and you can go and check it out on 101 on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, all the fun podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure you check it out. We will see you all, ladies and gentlemen, next time.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the